Greetings, Benjamin J from Ben's Trains with another in the series. Well, I want to do a quick video. As I always stress, don't overlook the junk. This is a Marx pre-war motor that I picked up today from eBay. And I bought this thing for parts. Pre-war, it has the spoked wheels on it. It's actually in fairly decent condition. The problem was, of course, the E-unit is completely missing and the intermediate gear was absolutely stripped. The wheels would just skip. They'd turn and then stop and turn and stop. So the thing was just absolute junk. Picked it up for $6 on eBay. Anyway, I always try to get these things running before I cannibalize them. The major problem with this motor is that the front tabs that hold the crossbar were broken off. So what do you do to repair that? Well, this is a really simple fix. So what I did was I took a half-inch square wooden dowel, cut it to fit, epoxied it into position, drilled a hole in this front crossbar, and mounted it with a screw, as you see. Those tabs are completely broken off, so there's absolutely no way to mount this on the motor. However, the result, of course, is a running pre-war motor that cost me $6. Now, this was junk. There is no other word to describe this. This was absolute junk. So what I'm going to do is put a light bulb in this motor, as you see, and then we're going to drop it into a 1666 shell. All right, let me grab the tripod real quick. Hold on. All right, let's see how this goes. So again, a square, half-inch square dowel, put epoxy on it, 5-minute epoxy, slid it into position, drilled a hole in the front crossbar, and mounted it with a screw directly to that piece of wood. So it's a great expedient. There was no way to save this motor. There was no way to mount it in a shell because there was no way to mount the front crossbar. So in any case, I've got a 1666 shell. It is complete. We're going to put this motor in here and see how this works. So let me get this thing sorted out. I've got the screws right here. So put the screw in this side. Now this locomotive is made completely from junk parts. This motor was trash. I bought it strictly for the wheels, actually. But as I stress, I always try to get a motor running before I cannibalize it. So there we have a Marx 1666 with a pre-war motor. Let me get this tripod out of the way. All right. I have a consist here. Marx consist, in fact. So get this on the rail. Difficult to do this with one hand. All right. I think we are on. So the grand test, a Marx 1666 with a pre-war motor that was absolute trash. Power is on. Let's see what happens. So as you see, that motor is running absolutely perfectly. Mounted in a 1666 shell, working headlight. It does not have an E-unit. The E-unit was completely missing. Like I said, I bought this strictly for parts. But once I got it and looked at it, it was obvious all I needed to do was bypass the E-unit, put a intermediate gear on it, and then the biggest problem was how do you mount the front crossbar with those tabs broken off. So that wooden dowel, epoxied into position, drilled a hole in the crossbar, and mounted it with a screw. And as you see, this is running just absolutely perfectly. So a grand total of $6. Really, really difficult to beat that. Anyway, I just wanted to do a quick video on that repair. As I always stress, don't overlook the junk. And if there was ever a junk motor, it was that pre-war motor. That thing was just absolutely trash. Intermediate gear was completely stripped. The E-unit was completely missing. And the front tabs were broken off. So it was just abuse. Absolute abuse. Why anybody would do that, I have no idea. But I've gotten lots of motors just like this. But I wanted to do a quick video on a really simple repair to be able to mount that front crossbar on a motor that's missing those twist tabs. And as you see, this is running really, really well. So a pre-war Marx motor mounted in a 1666 shell, has a front truck, has a rear truck. It runs forward only, but it runs. That's the nice thing about it. $6 for that motor. Even if I couldn't repair it, you can't buy one of the wheels for $6. And I needed some spoked wheels. That's what I bought this for, was to pull it apart. But once I saw that it could be repaired, it just seems really redundant to take a motor that could run and use it for parts. So in this case, I repaired it. It's up and running. Not just running, but running really, really well. As you see. So anyway, I now have a Marx 1666 with a forward-only pre-war motor. I'm going to leave the motor in this shell forever. It works, it runs well. I had the fun of fixing it. And trust me, this thing was junk. Like I said, I bought it just to pull the wheels off of it. And whatever parts I could use, of course. But after I looked at it, it was obvious that it wouldn't take much to get it running. An intermediate gear bypassed the E-unit. And of course, the most difficult part was how do you mount the front crossbar, because those tabs are broken off. The only alternative is to solder it on or replace the side plates. That's a major repair. This way, that piece of wood cost absolutely nothing. Epoxied into position, drill a hole in it, drill a hole through the front crossbar, and mount the crossbar with a screw. And as you see, this is running just absolutely perfectly. And that'll stay in there forever. That's just as secure now as it was when it came from the factory. So that's working, running absolutely perfectly. Anyway, it's a lot of fun to do this. And as I always stress, don't overlook the junk. And if there was ever a junk motor, it was this pre-war motor. This thing was just absolutely trashed. And someone had just absolutely butchered it. Broke both of those front tabs off, took the E-unit out of it. I mean, it was dead as a hammer. And the intermediate gear was completely stripped. As I said, the wheels would skip. They would turn and stop, turn and stop. So the intermediate gear was just absolutely destroyed. Well, it's hard to imagine it got that worn because the contactor isn't worn that badly. So what happened to it? Usually somebody will jam one of the wheels, or they'll be dicking around with this thing. And in the process of working on it, they destroy it. And that's what happened with this motor. Anyway, $6 on eBay. Like I said, bought it for the parts because I really could use those wheels. But I'm really hesitant to tear apart a motor that can actually run. And in this case, I had the E-unit bypassed in about 2 minutes. Pulled the wheels off so I could replace the intermediate gear. I had some, so I figured I might as well put it on there. And then, of course, I had to figure out a way to mount that front crossbar. But as you see, it's a simple expedient, and best of all, it works. Just a square dowel epoxied between the side plates, drill a hole in it, and mount the front crossbar with a screw. Really straightforward and really simple to do this. Anyway, I just wanted to do a quick video. Don't overlook the junk. You know, somebody just literally butchered this motor and then abandoned it. And in less than an hour, I had this motor up and running. So I just want to do a quick video on a completed project. I mean, this thing was junk. There was no doubt about that. This was absolute junk. As you see, it looks nice, it runs good, and it costs $6. So just a quick video. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email. BENZTRAINZ@gmail.com. And as always, thank you for watching.